On the line with Matt and Joe.
What's happening, guys? Yep, you're on the firing line, and again we are talking about our night vision series. So last time we talked to you a little bit about helmets, pros and cons of having a bump helmet versus a ballistic helmet, things to think about like that. The other big thing, other than your night vision, is going to be how do you aim these guns now? Okay.
Yeah, it's not like you can get right down on your sights on your rifle.
Yeah, okay, so
things are going to
exactly.
change. Dynamics are going to change.
So once you have this helmet on, now you have basically this big chunk of plastic with a little tiny window in front of it, and it makes it a lot harder to get. Even a red dot or an EOTech that has a big lens, you have to line it up just perfect because it's lining up a tube with a tube.
Yeah. Can you imagine putting your rifle out like that, trying to get behind your sights? It just doesn't work that well.
It can be done. It's just is really not ideal,
But there's alternatives to help us out for all this stuff.
Absolutely. So the first step would be to just go straight to a night vision scope. I'm going to say, this is more of a thing, like a specialty item. Absolutely. Because you're not going to get any benefit other than when you come up to the gun. You have to be on the gun to benefit from the night vision.
Honestly, I think something like that would be better for a short-range bolt rifle rather than something like an AR, because it's going to be heavy, it's going to be cumbersome.
Yep.
And sure, it's going to give you some sight at nighttime. Maybe if you have a forward observer,
this is
that kind of situation.
Yeah. This would be Carlos Hathcock's dream right here.
Right.
So we're just going to kind of pretend that we already know about just like a normal scope would be, except it transfers it to a night vision spectrum. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we really want to talk about though are the small lasers, the dual beam aiming lasers, and the ATPIALs. Now these are the two of these are. They're very small. You can see in my hand. They don't weigh very much, even with a battery in them. I'm sure you can look it up on the website. This is made by Steiner, and it's actually which model? A DBAL A3.
Right. That thing's very lightweight and nice.
Oh yeah, this one's really nice. It comes with the arms mount, so it's a quick detach.
Yeah, which that's why we pulled it off today to show you guys.
Exactly, because where mine you actually have to unscrew it. It's not like you have to pop them on and off all the time. The only reason we did pop it off was to show it for reference and size, really.
And they're really not too far off from each other if you look in size.
They do, and they do the exact same thing for the most part, And what it does is, it's not just a laser, okay? So there's three major things that they do. You have a visible laser, then you have an IR laser, which means infrared, so you can only see it with your night vision. So the spectrum is in infrared. And then over here you have an infrared floodlight, which is basically a flashlight in an infrared spectrum. So you can also get like a separate surefire light, of the head of it, a vampire head, and have an IR beam from there too. But then you get rid of your white light.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know I have another rifle that I don't have any lasers or anything set up on, but I do have the vampire light, so that if I wanted to do something at nighttime, to practice some stuff, I have the ability to flood the whole area.
Oh yeah.
And still use my rifle the way I want to.
Yeah,
so.
because it wouldn't be ideal, but at least you have that light, and it goes from white to IR, and so it does give the gun that much better, that little extra capability at night. Where is if you had a gun with just a white light on it and night vision, you'd be giving yourself up every time you press the button.
Right.
And that's another thing I wanted to tell you guys was just like. Body armor doesn't make you bulletproof. Night vision does not make you a shadow.
Yeah.
It's not a cloaking device at all. So don't think, Hollywood takes it a little far as sneaking up on people and stuff.
And that's funny you say that, because one thing I would suggest is if you are going to get into something like this and you want to practice this kind of stuff, you have to consider first walking around and just practicing having the nods on and get used to that perception. Yeah, and then after you've mastered that, and I do say mastered, not just go out and try it one or two times and say I know how to do it. but master it, and then you can go out and actually try it with your rifle. And remember, follow those safety rules while you're doing that. Make sure that you've got a clear forward area. So
all the safety rules, fundamentals, they all stay the same. The only thing that changes when you're firing with night vision is instead of putting your cheek on the gun, because you have the night vision, if you did that, you'd be like clunking with everything. So instead of your cheek, you actually hold the gun more down here or your head up. You don't really want to keep your head up though. Keep your head up, but don't stick your head up. Remember that one. And so that way, then you have your aiming laser, which would be mounted right up front there. And you would just be looking through your night vision and looking at and you'd be aiming with the DBAL, with the laser.
Yeah.
So the only difference when it comes to fundamentals of rifle shooting, when it comes to the laser, is your cheek weld. You have no cheek weld. But you still have 3 points of contact with your shoulder and both hands.
Yep.
So I mean, you can still shoot it very accurately. You just don't.
one thing too is we have control over our lights now by using a special pressure pad switch here.
Yep.
Both of us actually run this one.
Yeah, this is the Surefire, the SR07 dual, something like that.
That way we can operate both a light with the press of a button, or if we want, we can operate whatever setting we have by turning the back here so that you can actually set it up for yourself.
Yeah, so like
A number of different options
for
here.
both of us. We have it. The back portion is white light, and the front portion is our infrared. Because when you're running night vision, your infrared is your main way of aiming the gun. So that needs to be like your kind of like your primary. Think of that, you know, when you have night vision, that aiming laser. And there might be, you know, what if the people that you end up in a gunfight with have night vision too? Now you have to put the same type of discipline you have as a white light into your infrared laser, because that could give yourself away just as quick. Which is why we don't use visible lasers to aim with night vision. It's possible, but what does that do? It creates a straight line right back to, pretty much to our face, right?
You know, another thing too is when you're gonna store these or not be using them, remove the battery. That's another tip too, because you don't want corrosion going on in this, especially after you've paid so much money for some of these devices.
And that's a great tip. And yeah, and so like I keep the battery in my optic and in my Surefire, but I take the battery out of my anything that is like an IR equipment, so my night vision, my aiming laser. If you leave the battery in there, it's gonna kill the battery super quick,
real quick.
and then then if it stays in there, you risk corroding a very expensive sensitive item.
See that pressure pad switch again?
Yeah, so, and that's the one that clips on to the rail, which I kind of would prefer than the other tape switch that you have to use the Velcro. This is just more secure.
Yeah.
And we're both running that on each of our guns.
Yeah, how many times have we seen Velcro come loose, after your rifle heats up, things like that. So.
And tape switches, these new ones, especially like and even the ones for the single light, if you're not running one with the laser, the new tape switches with the rail clamps are not like the old ones. They're way better. I mean, these ones are, way better than the ones that came with the lights 5 or 6 years ago, So, and then the last example we have over here is just a little shorty pistol and it's got an old school PEC 2 on it with just a nice little EOTech. I actually don't know the model of this EOTech.
I think that's a 5. No, that's not the 512. 512's got the longer nose on it.
No, because it's like it's a little smaller than the EXPS. So.
But it does have the dual dot. So.
Yeah, that's true.
You can pick up a little bit further and then close.
Yeah.
Maybe a little over the top, just like that.
And you'll notice again we have the same exact light that is on the other two more serious night vision guns, the Surefire M300. Only thing that was not available for this gun, and it's because of real estate, is the tape switch.
Right.
But you can activate the laser by double tapping it here and keeping it on, and you're not going to be using a whole lot of white light in an ideal night vision situation.
Right. What's cool too is with the spike sights on here, I have plenty of room to put everything down still, and they have a real nice point on them.
Yep, and this one aims pretty nice for especially the little gun that it is. And that this makes me, the last point that I want to bring up to you guys is the flash from this stuff, because you got to think night vision, and so all of a sudden, especially with the shorter barrels where the gas isn't burning off as much, you get a bigger flash. And sometimes when you are using certain not flash suppressors, but
different
like a
like
muzzle brake or
exactly.
a compensator, there you go. That creates more of a flash generally than an A2 or a flash hider. So if you have a night vision gun set up, a flash hider is probably the ideal. Or, hey buddy, shop dog. Or you can get something that does both, like a battle comp that's like a flash hider slash compensator,
Exactly.
And that's what we're both running. It's either an A2 or a battle comp when it comes to this type of stuff. So that's kind of a brief section on the lasers. We're going to try and get some video of the IR. So stay tuned for that. Feel free to ask us any questions, because I know we're just hitting a broad spectrum because there's so much details about every little.
And by no means are we like experts, like 100% on this stuff at
I'm
all.
not. Yeah, but I know just enough to get myself in trouble.
It's fun to share this stuff with you guys, though.
Yeah. So if you have information for us, relay that stuff. And we'll be back to you soon. If you think it was worth it, go ahead and smash that thumbs up and maybe subscribe. Yeah. And we'll catch you next time on The Firing Line with Matt and Joe.
Awesome. Have a great time, guys.